I said it's one thing to have chemistry between two actors, like just natural, effortless chemistry where they just click. But it's another thing to actually have chemistry musically, for them to be able to harmonize and be so in sync with each other is just taking the relationship of Billy and Daisy Jones to an entirely different level. Hey everyone, welcome back to Canon Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX ND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be reviewing Daisy Jones and the 6 episodes 4, 5, and 6. They did such a great job setting up all of these characters in the first 3 episodes that 4, 5, and 6 is really all about Billy and Daisy Jones getting to know each other musically, and by getting to know each other through like music and an artist standpoint, they really feel each other on a deeper spiritual, soulful level that maybe like Camilla doesn't really understand when it comes to Billy. So what Taylor Jenkins Reid does in the book is that she explores different versions of soulmates, and that different relationships can happen, A, when you least expect it, and B, these soulmates that are introduced throughout your life, they tap into different sides of you, and they sometimes bring out the best in you, but they also can bring out the worst in you. So that's what the book explores, and I think they're really showing that in Daisy Jones and the 6. And I think that the strongest character in episodes 4, 5, and 6 is kind of Camilla. And I know that everyone's going to be like, but Daisy Jones, and Daisy Jones is such a strong character, and Riley Keough smashes it in all 3 of these episodes, and her chemistry with Sam Claflin is next level. And I tweeted this out the other day while I was watching episodes 4, 5, and 6. And I said, it's one thing to have chemistry between two actors, like just natural, effortless chemistry where they just click. But it's another thing to actually have chemistry musically, for them to be able to harmonize and be so in sync with each other is just taking the relationship of Billy and Daisy Jones to an entirely different level. And we see that he loves Camilla. We see that Billy loves Camilla, but that is a different type of love. It started off as puppy love, and then Camilla was like, but I love him and I'm going to do everything in my power to stay with him, you know, to be by his side, watch him grow. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're compatible with said person. And again, we see that in 4, 5, and 6. It's heartbreaking because you're watching Camilla break her own heart. You're watching Daisy Jones breaking her heart because she knows that the journey that she's about to go on with the Aurora album is going to be pretty intense with Billy. We start off episode 4 with Honeycomb everywhere on the radio. They get their checks and they start, you know, making purchases. Like, who wouldn't? You're making your first like big check on a song that you guys wrote and performed. And it's a big deal. So, you know, Billy bought Camilla a house, which is just wild to see that amount of money that they made can buy them a house. Back in the 70s, it makes me really sad to look at the climate right now. Graham and Karen and Eddie and Warren, they do their own thing. They buy their own stuff. Same thing with Daisy. And it's just a really celebratory time for them at the beginning of this. But Billy knows deep down, Camilla knows deep down that Daisy Jones makes the 6 better. They get asked to perform at this festival, a whole bunch of acts all together. And obviously the 6 go to perform, but the main draw is Daisy Jones. So Daisy pops up. And I think that, as I mentioned before, in the first 3 episodes, we only got like a little bit of Billy's alcoholism and his addiction. In episodes 4, 5, and 6, you really see Daisy drink a bit more, take her pills, you know, and she's acting out because of the drugs in her system and the alcohol. But she can't write or sing or perform without taking any of that. And that's what sets her apart from Billy. And that's why Billy sees what she does and needs to stay away from her for 2 different reasons. He knows that the alcoholism and the addiction is not good for him, but he also sees that Daisy Jones is not good for the band because of what she's capable of, and she's reckless. She's a bit careless when it comes to that, and we see that. So they perform, Daisy comes on, crowd goes bananas. When Daisy comes on, she's only supposed to sing Honeycomb and Peace Out Bye. But the audience wanted her to stay because they love Daisy, but more importantly, they love Daisy and Billy together. So then she stays and sings another song that the Six had performed, and Daisy's like cheek to cheek with Billy singing into one microphone. That's where things start to happen. And the thing that got me is that Billy melded off to Daisy saying, like, what did you think you were doing? You were only supposed to go, like, come on for one song. Why did you stay? Blah, 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 blah. And then Daisy's like, well, they loved me. Why wouldn't I stay? Like, get your head out of your own butt type of thing and see that they like us. And Karen kind of defends Daisy Jones. Not only does Karen defend Daisy Jones, Camilla defends Daisy Jones. So Camilla takes it upon herself, like, I'm going to throw a party. Billy, you're not going to throw this away just because of your own big fat ego that you can't, like, share the spotlight. That's not happening. So Camilla throws a party, invites Daisy Jones. Daisy, being her cute self, oblivious, she walks out of the cab, drops a bottle of wine, but has a pineapple as a hostess gift. Like, that's who Daisy Jones is. And Riley Keough is adorable. So Camilla gets to know Daisy. And Billy has it here. He's like, I know I feel something for Daisy Jones. Here's my wife inviting her to our house. Like, it's the beginning of a snowball effect that just continues to get worse and worse. You see how Billy feels about Daisy in episodes 4, 5, and 6. More importantly, you notice that Daisy and Billy kind of speak to each other in code in 4, 5, and 6 through the songs that they sing, that they write together. And I think that that is just a beautiful way to express your emotions in such a different way. And that's what Taylor Jenkins Reid did so beautifully in the book. That's why it spoke to me, because sometimes these emotions are so heavy that you don't know how to express yourself. So they can manifest, as I said before in my previous review, into, hatred, into love, or into lust, and you don't know how it's going to take form, because you could love someone and it could flip into hatred just because you want them so badly and you don't know how else to feel towards them because you can't have them. Like, it's just really hard to do any of that. And I love what they do in Daisy Jones and the Six. There are a couple of things that they did change around. Like, I think it made more of an impact when Daisy Jones met Julia at a later age. She was a bit older, and the same thing with Camilla. Of course, they can fast track that. I get that. I do like that Daisy Jones and Camilla have this relationship. I just think that the way that she met Julia, his daughter, was just a bit like too premature. The whole time, Daisy's complimenting Camilla and their relationship, and she's complimenting her as a woman, as a mother, holding Billy together. I think like that's what's just so amazing about the women in Daisy Jones and the Six, is that they do uplift each other, but they also have like a heart talking to, and they have those deep conversations and heart to hearts. Even the conversations that are a bit difficult to have, they have them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they dislike each other or hate each other at all. So I think that they have these really layered performances, and these characters are really developing quite nicely over, the past couple of episodes because of that. And I'm just so happy with it. I really am. So I like the interactions between like Camilla and Karen and Daisy Jones. I think that those are the sweet spots, because Daisy Jones, like, she has Simone, but she has never really had, more than one person or have a group of people actually support and care for her. And that's when Camilla does say, she's like, listen, like, we're a family and we have each other's back, but that also needs to be like reciprocated and watched, because if you go a bit too far thinking about yourself and being careless, there's a point of like no return that we won't be able to like be there for you. Like, she's saying it without saying it. And I like that entire scene with Camilla. And then Camilla's being like a little matchmaker with everybody. And I like that too, because she loves love. And I think she's one of the characters that really fights for love and fights for all of that. Moving into the other episodes, trying to convince Billy to have Daisy Jones join the band, and Camilla's the one to do it. So Daisy Jones joins the band, and this is what makes such a fun episode, because Billy and Daisy are at odds. she wrote some songs, Billy wrote the whole album, and they're just going at it with these conflicting ideas. And Daisy makes a very, very good point in regards to what Billy's writing about. So it's all masked in like, I love my wife, I love my wife. And then Daisy's like, well, I don't want to listen to a whole album about this guy loving his wife. There needs to be better lyrics. There needs to be some like tough situations incorporated in this. So you can make a song that's hopeful, but you can also make a song that's a bit like dark, that can tap into, you know, human emotions and what people are feeling. And I think that between the two of them coming together, Billy can write all the like fluffy stuff and like scratch the surface of what he really wants to talk about with these metaphors. And then Daisy comes in and just roughs it up a bit. And that's when you have like magic songs that come out. So I think that the marriage between the both of them lyrically is a beautiful thing to see. So because they're working on this album, Billy and Daisy spend a lot of time together. A lot. It's not like he's neglecting Camilla, but it feels like he is neglecting Camilla. And at that point, Daisy invites him over to like Teddy's house, or they break into Teddy's house, which was really cute. And she's like, listen, if we're going to spend the whole day writing together, we have to go to certain places that we're uncomfortable with in order to trust each other as musicians, as artists. We need to know every little thing about each other. So they start asking each other questions. They get to the nitty gritty. And they open up to each other. And Billy says some hurtful things to Daisy. The one thing that we do see in episode 5 is that Billy sees a lot of himself in Daisy, and Daisy sees a lot of herself in Billy. Kind of like a twin flame type of situation, type of relationship, which can be explosive, as we see in episode 6. So there are a lot of things that happen. I'm not going to really do spoilers for this, but it's really interesting to see how many secrets the people in the band actually have from each other. So Camilla knows a lot of them. And she's like, well, I want to have a secret of my own. And I think the subtlety with the interviews, again, that's what brings everything together. It's almost like you're forgetting that this happened like 20 years ago with these interviews. So when something does happen and you're filling in the gaps, there's a subtlety in the interviews where they don't fully explain what happened, but they allude to something happening. And then you as the audience can kind of piece things together as to what actually happened. And I like that. It's up to interpretation. Of course, a bit more detailed in the book, but I think that the subtlety on screen and showing things that happen and putting 2 and 2 together, especially with the editing, worked extremely, extremely well. And then what we do see is that Daisy Jones goes off the deep end, and Billy's the only one that can kind of tap into a different side of her. And that one scene, Riley Keough, is phenomenal. Like, I think it's just Billy knowing what rock bottom feels like, what the downward spiral into, you know, addiction feels like. And he's seeing that happen with Daisy. That was the first time that he really saw her in a different light. And that's what kind of fuels him to get even more annoyed and irritated with her. And like, I got to push you away. There are a lot of aspects as to why Billy just can't be around Daisy, because there are great qualities to someone and there are not some good qualities to someone. He tries to outweigh the pros with the cons so he can actually function. I think they adapted this the best way that they possibly could. I think every band member is really getting their time to shine as well. There's some little bits with Eddie that are really important. I think Warren's just like the chill dude. He's Switzerland in everything, and you kind of need that too. You need someone who's not really like deeply involved with anybody and just keeping it light and fun, and that's Warren. But even like Graham and Karen, you have these like small glances between them. And, you know, Camilla sees it. She sees like what could possibly happen between the two of them. And even their relationship kind of gets a bit rocky as well. But it's all for the sake of the band and trying to keep the band together, which is something that like Daisy doesn't really comprehend. So there are moments between Daisy and Billy that made me really emotional, because sometimes you could feel so much for someone and you don't know what to do with all of those emotions. You have no idea what to do. And Daisy doesn't know how to even control her emotions or hone them in, or, even how to express them to Billy. And that's what's really hard about this, So it's hard to keep a side of yourself so private when you're writing songs together. I like that they're taking their time with this. I like that they're trying to keep things from each other. And Camilla is someone who's very observant, and she'll speak her mind when she needs to. So I'm giving episodes 4, 5, and 6 the same because I felt like all 3 of them were really consistent, and I'm at like an 8.5. I really liked what they did for each of the characters, and just moving along in like the recording studio, seeing a bit more of who Daisy Jones is and seeing a bit more of who Billy Dunn is, and the Rolling Stone situation with the interviews was really intense. And I think even the photo shoot was really intense, and that tied it all together. But the songs, I've been listening to Aurora on repeat. I love them so much. If you haven't been listening to them, oh my God, what are you doing? Please go listen to them. So if you guys are loving Daisy Jones and the Six, let me know in the comments below. I really love the show. I love the book even more, as I gushed about it in my previous video. Loved it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMX ND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, and you can check out the ways to help the channel down below and help me grow this wonderful community. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.